To understand Minoan history, it is important to get a general understanding of the landscape and very unique geographical position of the island. Located in the central eastern Mediterranean, Crete has often been described as a sort of stepping stone between the Aegean cultures and the Near East. Travelling just around 300 kilometers from the Cretan coast, you could reach either the Greek mainland, Anatolia, or even as far as North Africa. This very advantageous position, both sufficiently distant from other early civilizations to not be conquered or incorporated into other cultures, yet sufficiently close to influence and become influenced by others, allowed for Crete to develop its own culture, with both unique endemic and some imported features. In the periphery of the Cretan world are certain regions which here most commonly will be described using historical geographical terms, which much better fits the contemporary context of the Minoan world, instead of terms which much more allude to the modern nations of today. So to the south is Egypt, which extends along the Nile River, and east, including the Sinai Peninsula. The eastern Mediterranean, extending from the Sinai Peninsula, north as far as modern-day Turkey, and east towards Mesopotamia, is the so-called Levant. Now, as the word Levant refers to the rising sun, both in Old French and Latin, and thus the East in general, the term can in its wider sense include the general region of the Eastern Mediterranean, although this is not particularly common anymore. And then, to the north is Anatolia, sometimes called Asia Minor, which refers to what is today the western part of modern-day Turkey, although of course excluding any regions within Europe. Within the Aegean Sea, Crete is by far the largest island, and like other islands within the Aegean, Crete constitutes the tips of the Pindus mountain range, which starts in southern Albania, making its way southeast, creating the rocky and mountainous landscape which define most of Greece. As the mountain range then makes its way southeast into the Aegean, only certain areas extend above the water, creating its famous islands. The range then continues eastward towards Anatolia, where it becomes the Taurus mountain range. The factors behind the mountainous landscape which defines the Aegean, and Greece in general, comes down to geography and geology. Just south of Crete, a clash between multiple tectonic plates have been ongoing for millions of years. The African plate is moving slowly north, while the Eurasian, Aegean and Anatolian plates are all moving south, creating an area rife with seismic activity. Now, to better get an understanding of this phenomena and how this impacts the region as a whole, let's examine a cross-section from the North African coast all the way to the island of Samos. So the Aegean and African tectonic plates move in opposite directions. As the two plates eventually collided, one plate was submerged above the other. In this case, the African plate is thrusted below the Aegean plate, and as a result, the Aegean plate is lifted and the islands of the Aegean are formed along with various mountain ranges. So Crete was formed around 20 million years ago, when seismic activity in the region would thrust Crete up from the sea, creating the island as we know it today. Now, being located this close to collision zones of these tectonic plates create two core problems. Problems which will come to define the history of the Minoans and all later civilizations in the area, namely earthquakes and volcanic activity. When the two plates move towards one another, tension builds up, and at times resulting in devastating earthquakes. Volcanic activity on islands such as Santorini is due to the movement of the African plate, which brings with it rocks and sediments filled with water to areas of immense pressure and high temperatures closer to Earth's core. Now, as the rocks and sediments contains water, the boiling point is reduced, and as the layer is brought down to deeper and deeper depths, it starts to melt, creating lava which, due to its lower density, starts to flow up towards the surface. The accumulation of lava becomes large chambers, which eventually will burst, triggering an eruption. These volcanic islands such as Melos, Santorini, Nisiros are all located north of Crete along an arc called the South Aegean Volcanic Arc. Santorini, being the most famous of the Aegean islands, is part of a larger collection of islands referred to as the Cyclades, which considers the multiple islands between Crete and mainland Greece, which all encircles the central island of Delos. This circular geography is what gives rise to the name Cyclades, as Kyklos, which the name is derived from, means circle. Then to the east are another group of islands called the Dodecanese, basically translated to the 12 islands, where the island of Rhodes is probably the best known. The Cretan landscape is not too different from that of southern mainland Greece. Most of the land is rugged, mountainous and quite often dry, with multiple valleys creating pockets of fertile regions fit for agriculture. As a result of the mountainous landscape, these small isolated pockets of arable land along the coast and valleys allowed for small communities to develop semi-independent of one another. Unlike other early civilizations, which usually developed around a single large fertile region with a single ruling leader, Crete maintained its small scale, with a myriad of different societies developing on a very small geographical area. Another feature of the mountainous landscape are the many caves and gorges which litter the island. Now, a key reason for the high number of caves, in particular on Crete, is the prevalence of limestone. As mentioned previously, Crete used to be submerged below the ocean, and as carbon-based life forms such as corals, crustaceans, basically anything with a shell, or certain microscopic organisms would eventually die, small deposits of calcium and carbon are found deposited on the seafloor. Now, as these build up through millions of years and new layers of other sediments are placed atop of the initial layer, the increased pressure allows for the sediments to turn to solid limestone. And as Crete then was thrust up from the seafloor, limestone, which had previously existed below the water, could now be found at an elevation of more than 2,000 meters. If you walk about the high mountains of Crete, you will often find shells from crustaceans which once were at the ocean floor. So even when traveling to some of the most desolate peaks on Crete, such as here at the peak sanctuary of Kofinos at 1200 meters above the ocean, you can still see the layers of sedimentary carbonated rock such as limestone and dolomite which once were on the ocean floor. Now above ground, limestone can easily be dissolved along gatherings of water, for example at lakes or by rivers. So as water makes its way down the mountain, it carves a path through the limestone, eroding away the upper layer. With time, the river makes its way deeper and deeper down, creating at times deep dramatic fissures in the landscape. Some of them very deep and narrow, sort of V-shaped fissures, so-called gorges, such as the Ha Gorge in eastern Crete, or wider, more U-shaped canyons, such as the Sankt Sava Canyon in the Estrusia Mountains. So there are 5 core mountain ranges throughout Crete, which helps to segment the island into small areas. In the furthest west, we find the White Mountains, given their name due to the lack of vegetation, and very bright limestone which gives the peak their bright appearance throughout the whole year. Further east is the Siluritis Mountains, with the highest peak on Crete, Mount Ida, at 2,456 meters. On the eastern slopes of the mountain is the Aegean Cave, which has been through history regarded as the cave where Zeus was born and nurtured as Rhea hid him from his father Kronos. Another cave though, the Sycro Cave, also claims to be the birthplace of Zeus and can be found in the Lasiti Mountains, further east. These 3 mountain ranges, the Lasiti Mountains, Siluritis and White Mountains, are the 3 major mountain ranges on Crete. The remaining 2, the Astrusia Mountains in the south and the Setia Mountains in the furthest east, constitute smaller ranges with less elevation, yet their dry and rugged landscape still becomes natural barriers between regions. Taking a look at the topography of Crete, some large areas can be discerned which are worth mentioning, like in the furthest east between the low mountains of the Setia, or sometimes called the Tripiti Mountains, are the various valleys which would be home to some notable Minoan towns and palaces, such as Petras, just outside the modern town of Setia, but also Pallaicastro and Katosakros on the east coast. Along the coast, east of the Lasiti Mountains, is the Bay of Mirabello, home to numerous smaller villages and the largest settlement of Gornia. Then, starting from the most southern part of the Mirabello Bay, is the narrowest part on Crete, the Hieropetra Isthmus, a 12-kilometer wide strip of land which separates the Aegean Sea to the north from the Libyan Sea to the south. Then further to the west is the central part of Crete, which during the Minoan period came to host the largest, most well-known and materially productive palaces. Knossos, located just south of the island's capital and largest city, Heraklion, is the largest of the palaces. Then further east, just north of the Lasiti Mountains, is the Palace of Malia, and to the southwest, in the fertile Messara Plains, is the Palace of Phaistos, or sometimes called Festos. The remaining 2 regions surround the modern-day towns of Rethymno and Chania, and becomes economically and culturally more important towards the later Bronze Age. Although Crete is a small island, the environment and landscape does noticeably change as you move from east to west. Eastern Crete is noticeably drier and receives less rainfall than Western Crete, and as a result, Western Crete is far more fertile and greener, with patches of dense forest scattered about the landscape. So while cities such as Sittia on the east coast annually receives around 300 millimeters of rainfall, Chania on the west coast receives around twice the amount of precipitation. Areas also with higher elevation receive more rainfall, with parts of the White Mountain receiving upwards of 2 meters of rain annually. The water then travels along the side of the mountain to the lower valleys or along the cracks and falls within the mountain and reappear further down as natural springs. Another impact of the higher elevation is also the increased snow coverage, which allows taller mountain ranges, such as the White Mountains or the Siluritis Mountains, to maintain their snow coverage until late spring. The snow coverage then becomes like a buffer, slowly releasing the water downstreams to nearby areas, keeping the land fertile even during summer. The three-dimensional landscape also gives rise to different ways of life at different altitudes. By the coast, fishing is a staple of the local cuisine, being a historical key source of nutrition. But then as the coast gives way to open plains, crops such as grapes, wheat and olives become more common. At lower altitudes, olive trees become more prominent, as the olive tree can't survive the cold winter temperatures often found at higher altitudes. Then outside the large plains, around areas less fit for farming, goats roam around freely, often escaping the sun by finding shade along the cliffs. It is also here, up at the higher altitudes where crops can't be cultivated, we find numerous beehives strewn about, as the bees produce honey from the flowery alpine pastures.